I recently had the opportunity to interview the product manager for the brand new Google Pixel Fold. And I've literally never interviewed anybody before, and so this is my first time. His name is George Hwang. He is pretty cool, and I asked him some questions, and it's my first time asking questions like this, so if it sucks, I'm sorry. But anyway, without further ado, here it is. I have a few questions that I wrote down of just some things I've personally wondered. But the first thing I wanted to ask is, you're the product manager for the Pixel Fold, is that right?
That's right, yeah. I've been lucky enough to work on this for quite a bit.
Okay, what does that specifically mean?
Yeah, no, that's a great question, and I get it a lot. So we or I work on everything from the front end all the way. So when you think about like design and concept and research and things like that, all the way to get this thing to ship. So still working on it, still ensuring it. When you give me feedback, I think about that feedback a lot, right?
Yeah.
And things like that. So, and then I think another large part is working with a lot of different teams and touch points, right? So whether that be our engineering team up front and our industrial design team, all the way through our launch team and legal and marketing team and things like that. So kind of get the whole gamut of it. It's a pretty neat job. But the one additional thing I say to everyone, because it's really hard job to kind of explain, is if there's generally an area where there's a gap, I tend to plug it. So
I get that. Sweet. Yeah. So is the Pixel Fold something that you've been like solely working on for like a long time, or has there been like other projects that you've also been a part of and you were kind of put on this one recently, or how does that all work?
Yeah, so just a little bit about myself. So I've been at Google for, I would say, more than 5 years now. I can't even remember right now, 6-7 years. And I've had the opportunity to work on a lot of different programs and projects and products. But Pixel Fold is something, and foldables in general, is an area that I oversee and I've been working on for quite a few years now. Doesn't mean I don't work in a couple of different other areas as well, but it is my main focus, yeah. Okay,
so you said a few years on like the Fold. So when did like Google first kind of start conceptualizing their like foldables? How long ago was that?
Great question. Unfortunately, I can't describe the full length and duration, so I've been told by friends, but we've been thinking about this quite a long time, and I put a lot of research and dedication into it to try to figure out how we can actually make something quite useful and bring something to our users that they love. Yeah.
Sweet. Yeah, that's awesome. What would you say was the main focus when developing the Fold? Like, do you think you guys focused mostly on like the actual design and like the folding aspect and all that, or was it like the optimizing the software to be used with that, or maybe even the hardware? What did you think was like the main focus, or was it all of them?
Yeah, no, it's a great question, and I think, to be very honest, it's not the answer you're looking. You're probably looking for like, we did this and we focused on this, but really
that's okay.
Many things, because what we felt is that there was a lot of areas that needed a little more attention. So I think a couple of ones that you mentioned are really the design and actually the form factor, and making sure that it's usable and it's familiar and it gives you more. And we could dive in there. Or secondarily, the other area is camera, and really making sure that we could bring our pixel heritage to the camera in the foldable space. And then another good one that you brought up was also software experiences, and ensuring that we developed something that was purpose-built, right?
Yeah.
And so not only the OS, but also made a lot of strong efforts in the apps, as well as real experiences for this new form factor.
Sweet. Yeah, and that actually leads me into another question, and I'm sure this is probably something you've been asked a lot, but as far as app optimization goes, I've noticed, like I have the Fold right now, so I've noticed using it myself, a lot of apps will just, be sent to the middle of the big folded screen or to the right side, not filling up the whole thing. And I know that's probably something that like individual app developers kind of have to work with to do that. Yeah. So is there like an effort being put to getting all apps to, actually utilize the full unfolded screen?
Yes, there is a very large effort and investment from Google to ensure that we can bring more of those apps to fully utilize this type of form factor. But we've also done a lot of things as well to make that easier for them. It's not like hey, just go and do it.
Right.
We've updated our libraries, our APIs, and our guidance on how you can optimize this type of device. Both, and it's tricky. It's a hard effort, right? Like, because you need to optimize for really 3 different states, or it could be even more.
Right.
The outside screen, the inside screen, the transition between, and then there's also other stances or postures like that tabletop. There could also be a tent mode. So there's a lot you could do and a lot of ways that you could optimize. And so we're trying to give them guidance and help, and we're highly invested in that.
Okay. And is there like a kind of expected timeline? Like you're expecting by the end of this year that most main social media apps will be optimized, or is it kind of something you're just still working towards and you don't really know?
Yeah, we do have a prioritization list of outreach and who we want to partner with, and it is, but there is no timeline because it is really a conversation. All these other app companies and external app partners, they have priorities as well, right? So we're trying to balance that as well. And then obviously the larger of them, or the, I guess, top 100, top 250, things like that, that's higher priority, and then we'll work our way back down. But we have done it such that these we have enabled them to do it themselves as well. Like I said, there's guidance, there's APIs, there's libraries. We also have an emulator where they can actually see how their apps will look. And so just try to make it as easy as possible.
Yeah.
Such that, hopefully they're excited about it and excited about the new form factor, all the different things that you could potentially do. And so giving them that capability to do it themselves as well.
Yeah, that's great. It's good to hear that there's actually like a pathway that developers can follow to actually do that. So that's cool. Another question is, why did you guys opt for the shorter design? Like, the Galaxy Folds are a lot thinner and taller. Yeah. And I'm just curious why you guys opted for a more like stubby design. Not that it's a good or a bad thing, just like what was your thought process behind that?
Well, I'd love to actually hear your thoughts on it, but I can give you our answer first, or my answer first.
Sure.
Particularly, it's a balance, right? So first and foremost, whatever change you make to the outside display, it impacts the inside display, and it impacts the whole form factor.
Right.
Our key takeaway, our key goal here was to make a usable outer display, a familiar outer display. That outer display is the device and the display that you use most. And so what we want to do is that, you could do the things like quick things like write a quick text message, or, change the song really easily without unfolding the device. Right. And then when you wanted to, you could unfold it and do the things that you want to do on it. Watch a, TikTok clip, or YouTube, or, or multitask, or do a whole bunch of things on that larger inner display. And so trying to balance those two things, but really particularly for the outside display, just making sure that's something that you can use day in, day out.
So you would say that you guys thought first of the experience on the outside display and then the inside display, or did you kind of think of them both together?
I wouldn't say that we thought of them separately, but we put high priority on that outer display to ensure that it was usable and that it was familiar for yourself. Because we looked at the data, right? We looked at how people use their phones. And I was just shocked on how many touch points people have with their phones in a day, right?
Right.
It's a couple of 100 times per day, right? And then if you look at that, what we also noticed is that people often use their phones in very short bursts. Minute, 2 minute long, they put it away, they do something, they come back to it, right? And so if you notice that, and those are high frequency touch points, like they do that often, then you don't want to change that. Yeah? Like if I had to unfold to do that every time, particularly what I realized, especially not something we're supposed to do, but we do often, is you're walking in a hallway, right? Or walking in a hall in your home, and you have your phone and you're doing something quickly on it. If you have to unfold and do that while you're walking, it actually becomes dangerous, and it's not easy to get done. And so what we realized is that we had to enable people to use their phone as a phone, right? And so when we thought about this design, really the best balance between a phone and a tablet, right? Yeah,
awesome. Yeah, I would say. So I've had the opportunity to use foldables, but the main foldable that I've used has been the Flip. I've used the Galaxy Z Flip 4 quite a bit. And this is actually my first time daily driving a fold device. And so what I've found is, yes, I do primarily use the outside display. So you're right on that. But I do actually have a Z Fold 3. I don't have the 4, but I have the 3. And the main thing on that is that display is just so skinny that it makes that cover display experience, it's like, oh, it's too skinny. So then I have to unfold it to get, like a better experience. So I actually like that this is more of a usable display. So yeah.
And I'm curious, how has the transition been for you from a flip style to a device like this, which you're using for the first time?
I've only been using it for a day, but I will say so far I personally prefer the flip style because I guess I just like the form factor better. And it's not like I'm saying that it's better, like, objectively, but for me personally, I like it better. Because I don't know, the big screen is like really cool, but I don't personally see myself like using like insane multitasking all the time. Mm-hmm. That's just me. So like, I don't know. What about you? What do you prefer?
I'm gonna give you another week or two, and I'll see if your mind has changed.
No, I'm gonna keep using it. It's only been a day, Great. So we'll see. We'll see.
For myself, so there's actually quite a lot of things I do on it, and I think so. I work from home a lot, and I have multiple kids. I have 4 kids, so quite a lot of kids, and I always realize I'm doing a lot of things at once. And so last night was a great example, right? I was on a work call on a video conference, but I was also chatting with some friends to make plans for the weekend. So there's a great example of multitasking. But I was making dinner at the same time, but I wasn't doing a very good job at that. So my kids had to wait. So right after I got off the work call, I actually utilized the device to turn on what's it called, a Disney Plus show for them, and kind of put it down so that they in tabletop mode, so they could watch it for a little bit, get back to dinner. And so it's just really flexible, no pun intended, to kind of make it make most of the device for myself.
Yeah, and I totally agree with that. And then, like, I'm not saying that I don't like it. It's just I don't think I would utilize it to its fullest potential. Like, I mean, it's probably surprising that I'm like known as being like a very Android person, I guess, and I don't really multitask. Like, even with using the notes and the bigger phones, and they introduce all the multitasking, I like never use it. I just don't. But yes, I will give it, another couple weeks, and we will see. It's only been a day. But yeah.
Well, thank you.
Also with the kitchen you were talking about, that's a good way you can use the Pixel tablet as well.
Yeah.
I don't know if you have that.
I do. Well, I'm good friends with the people that worked on that. So okay. Yeah, and I have one in my kitchen. Yes, actually.
Me too.
Yeah, so that's another great device.
Who would you say, if anyone, is the Pixel Fold's competitor? Is there anyone specifically that you're trying to target? Like, we're gonna go against like the Galaxy Fold or whoever, or do you think you're just kind of your own thing?
Yeah, no, it's a great question. So with Pixel Fold, we're really focused on creating a first of its kind Google centric foldable device. And to be very frank with you, we look at all the other makers, and we're actually really impressed with what they do. If we think about it, a lot of people have been doing a lot of work in this area for a while, and it's really been great to see how they have ushered in this capability. But with the Fold, what we really want to focus on is some of those things that I mentioned to you, right? Really ensuring that we build a device that's really usable and thoughtful in how people use their devices, a device like this, as well as being able to actually give them the capabilities to do more, whether that's multitasking or that's also entertainment or even creativity with that larger inner display. And then I think what we ended up focusing on and really want to ensure is that we can build a sturdy device that are reliable and durable for people, and then bringing, like I said, the other kind of magic that Google is really well known for, like their camera, their call assist features and things like that. So really wanted to ensure that we could kind of bring all that forward in this type of form factor.
Sweet. Yeah. This is an interesting question that I'm sure you've heard. Why are the bezels inside so thick?
Yeah, no, it is a great, and there is a rhyme to, there is like a reasoning to our madness here. So like I said, I think we focused specifically on making sure that we had a form factor that, was usable on the outside, and then also augmented the inside display to kind of give you that large inner display. But the second thing that we really focused on was really making the device thin, right? And the reason is that you don't want to carry two thick phones in your pocket, in your purse, in your back pocket, wherever, right?
Right.
So to do that, what we needed to do is actually it took a lot of work, re-engineering components, rethinking about how we laid out the device. But the real magic was in the hinge, right? Mm-hmm. And so the way that hinges are generally made up are getting a little technical here.
Okay.
I've seen your channel. You get technical, so I understand. You'll appreciate this. Is that you actually have the hinge components across the whole length of the hinge, right? So there's usually several of them. And what happens is those components then add to the Z thickness, and then you have to add your display on top of that, and it kind of drives the thickness of your full-on device.
Right.
And what we've done, or what the engineering team here has done, has really thought of ways that we could actually thin out this device because we want to ensure that we could create a usable device, a device that you wanted to use all the time and carry in your hand in your pocket. So they actually took all of those components and moved them to the ends of the hinge, right? Thereby allowing us to actually shrink the device. Okay. And the device is significant. It's about less than 6 millimeters when fully open, which is about 2/3 the thickness of a regular Pixel phone. And to do that, we moved it to the end. And so that's what's actually at the ends of the hinge, as you can see on your device. Mm-hmm. And that drives the bigger bezels. But it does give you three key benefits. It actually makes the device more durable. Secondarily, it allows you to have a unadulterated display because there's no pinhole or things like that. And then we've actually moved the camera into the bezel to kind of give you a great camera experience.
Right. Yeah. Very good explanation. That's cool to hear that there's actually like a reason. I was wondering, actually, I wonder if they just made the bezel thick so they have room to improve for next time. See, next year it's like, ooh, now the bezel's thinner. Upgrades.
You know what? I'll take that next time. Let's just sandbag ourselves for a little bit so that we can.
Yeah. I guess I'm wondering then, along with that, is there a plan or even possibility to make it thinner with future iterations?
Yeah, I can't speak to our future roadmap plans, but we're always looking at ways to improve on ourselves, and this is whether it's Pixel Fold or just Pixel lines in general. We're always looking at new technologies, and we're always kind of trying to push the boundaries to kind of improve the user experience and improve the technologies that we can give to our users. So yes, I would, yes, it's all possible.
Okay. Cool. I think you kind of already answered this. I was going to ask what phone is in your pocket right now, and I'll let you answer.
So I'm the type of person that carries multiple phones.
Okay.
Because it's my job to think about phones all the time. My daily driver is the Pixel Fold. Okay. Particularly as we are leading up to obviously on shelf and the launch of the device, want to make sure that we can bring the best experience to our users and things like that. And so daily driving that all the time. I also have a regular Pixel phone because I'm testing that out as well. I work on Pixel. I think of myself working on Pixel in general.
Yeah.
And then I always have some other type of foldable in my pocket. So right now I have
3.
Yeah, I have. Well, one's usually in the bag, and then 2 are in my pockets.
Okay, nice. Yeah. Okay, yeah. Then I guess I want to ask: before you started working at Google, what type of phones did you use?
I had moved between both Android phones and Apple phones. So I think the device I had just before Google was probably a Samsung device. I don't remember what generation of device it was, but yes.
Okay, sweet, cool. Yeah. Oh, this is something that I was just personally interested in, and I don't know if this can even work with the software, but will there ever be a possibility, or is there? I may have just missed it since I've only had this for a day, but to separate the cover screen from the inside screen, to have a separate home screen set up on each.
You know what? The team actually looked at this. So early on, we looked at many different instantiations of what do we do between, especially as you unfold. And we did a lot of research in this area. And what do I recall? Oh yeah, we had looked at, especially because we also have the Discover page when you go one to the left. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so we were trying to think how do we utilize the screen? And what the research and what the user feedback was continuously is that it was quite jarring to have different different things. So that's how we ended up mirroring it and then giving you. But we did look at making it completely different, and understand that there are people that may want that. But most of the feedback was that people really appreciated the consistency across, and then it also gives you that capability to kind of create a kind of like an unfold, like sorry, hey, what am I trying to say? Like front display to inner display unfolding experience.
Yeah, I actually really like how it's implemented. How it literally just like goes from viewing one screen to viewing two screens. Yeah. Like you see your first page and your second page. I actually think that's great. But the reason I ask is actually because, so I don't know if you've seen my content a bunch, but typically on my phones, I use a launcher. I use Nova Launcher to do this setup. But I can't do that on the Pixel Fold because, well, I can. And it'll look normal on the cover display. But then when I open it up, it just stretches the whole thing. And it looks like super messed up. And so I was looking for a way like to separate that. So I think, I mean, I don't know if I'm allowed to give ideas, but I think it would be cool to have an option, like set it by default how it is. But if there is an option like in the home screen settings to like separate cover screen or something like that. Even if it was just an option, I think that would be amazing.
Yeah, no, I can go talk to the team about that, definitely. Thanks for the tip, especially around the separate launchers. I think I recall this being a question before, but I could dig a little deeper there.
Sweet, yeah. That was just something I know everyone doesn't use a launcher, but I do. But
any other quirks or any other interesting things that you noticed in your 1 day of testing?
The only main thing I've noticed that I could say is a quirk, which we've already talked about, is just like apps, not filling up the full inside screen.
Okay, got it.
If I think of anything else by the end of this call, I'll let you know. But I don't think so. Oh, this is a question. I don't know if you can have an answer to this because it's not Fold specific. But why, on Pixel devices in general, can you not remove the search bar on the home screen?
I will have to get back to you on that.
Okay.
I don't know the specific answer, and so I'd have to ask somebody about
that. Okay. Yeah, that's fine. Oh, you probably can't answer this, but I'm going to ask it anyway. Will Google, do you think, continue to focus primarily on their normal like Pixel and Pixel Pro devices, or start to lean more towards foldables, or kind of like do both of them in like years coming? Yeah,
so I can't speak specifically to our future roadmap plans, but we are committed to both those areas, right? We particularly, we just launched the Pixel 7a, and that's received great reviews, and and that's been doing great. And with the foldable, we've been very thoughtful specifically on just generally the design and some of the things that I mentioned to you, and it's something that we're quite committed to. Yeah. So,
cool.
Yeah, I can't talk about the exact devices, but
I understand.
These are areas that we feel committed to. Yeah.
I have one last question on here, and I already know that you can't answer it, but maybe I can read your face. Will there be a Pixel Flip?
Yeah. No, that's a great question too. So the thing that I can say about is that we obviously don't talk about future roadmap plans, but we investigate all good technologies and things like that, and so have tested the Flip with some of the other devices that are Flip form factors, and they're interesting as well. So, and saw your review on some of them recently as well. So appreciate that. But can't specifically talk to our future roadmap plans.
Yeah, I understand. I just have to ask, just in case you can say something. That's okay. That's okay.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes.
What particularly do you like about a Flip? Because you said that's your preferred.
Right. I think I like how it's essentially a normal phone that we're all used to, but it just gets smaller and more pocketable. And it's not really that much different from a normal phone. I think, for me at least, when you go to the Fold, you're like committing to a lot more. You're like, oh, okay, I'm going to do stuff on the front screen, and then like, oh wait, am I going to use the inside screen for some things? You kind of have to think just a little bit more. Like, oh, am I going to use the outside screen for what I'm about to do? Should I open it for what I'm about to do? So I feel like the I guess pocketability of the Flip I like more. Also, I like just the more simplicity of it, I guess, if that makes sense.
No, that makes sense as well.
Although I will say this is actually really pocketable. Especially since it's like the more shorter design. It's actually really good. So
no, and that was on purpose. Like we wanted to give both of those, right? So the outside display is the 5.8 inch, so it kind of gives you that compact form factor. Still in a traditional kind of phone size, but then when you unfold it, you get that 7.6. So hopefully you don't have to think too much. Use it as a phone, and then really whenever you have the time or you're in the right kind of environment, you can unfold to use a larger display.
Yeah. Oh, okay. I just remembered one last thing. And again, it's not fold specific, but maybe you've experienced this. But I've noticed, I've like dailied the Pixel 6 Pro, the Pixel 7 Pro, the Pixel 7a as well. And on, I think, all of those devices, I think probably, I've had this problem where if I don't use the cable that came with the Pixel, it'll do this thing where it charges, stops charging, charges, stop charging, charges, stop charging, and so the phone just keeps vibrating, like it keeps charging again. Do you know anything about that?
I know some of it because I used to work on this stuff, but I can kind of give you a little bit of guidance. I would double check your cable, like whatever other cable you have, and make sure. Preference is that you have one that is certified by the USB-IF implement platform. The second one is it might just be a bad connection, so you might want to just check your cable in general, right? In the sense where that it's nugging it fits well. Because some of them do wear out after you plug and unplug, especially if you use the same cable over years and years and years. Right. So you might want to refresh that cable. And as well as if you use the one in box, it might be just more newer.
And that's what fixed my problem, is using the one in the box. I just found it interesting that I use the same cable for all my other phones that I test, but it's only ever happened on Pixel devices, which was kind of weird to me. But I also kind of researched the problem and didn't find much about it, so I'm not really sure. So I don't know.
Yeah, those would be the two that I have off the top of my head.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
Well, hopefully that problem doesn't happen to you with the Pixel Fold.
Okay, yeah, I haven't. I've only had it for a day, and I've only wirelessly charged it, so I don't know yet, but we'll see. But anyways, that was it. Hopefully that was somewhat insightful, and hopefully my questions were okay. But let me know what you guys thought. Is there anything that if you had that opportunity that questions you would have asked, or what did you guys think? Did you take anything from that? Let me know in the comments. But anyways, thank you guys for watching. God bless, and we'll see you in the next one.